Hausman, the managing editor for Wrestling Inc., here, back with the latest installment of WINCLY TV, alongside our executive editor, El Presidente of Wrestling Inc., Raj Giri. Raj, welcome back to WINCLY TV.
Thanks. Always great to be here.
We are going to have a fun time today, guys. Not only are we going to talk the top 5 stories of the week, you are going to get to see probably, arguably, the most viral video coming out of the AEW Fyter Fest scrums, and that is with MJF. And MJF, he doesn't hold back here, Raj. I mean, I don't know what the folks at Ringside Wrestling want or not, but if you have sensitive ears or there's children in the room, maybe take them out of the room during the MJF scrum.
You set him off pretty good. I mean, he was, answering questions, and then your question, he went off and then stormed the room.
If I walk in and I'm like, hey, MJF, do you feel people don't appreciate you enough, right? He might have been like, thank you. But it's much more fun to be like, hey, MJF, you lost. How do you feel about that? So buy the ticket, take the ride. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. We'll have that here again after the top 5 stories of the week. We're also going to have our Extreme Rules, quick predictions here later at the end of our top 5 stories of the week. And of course, if you're watching this, you're watching it via the Ringside Wrestling app every Friday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Free to download. You get original programming here 7 nights a week now. All 7 nights a week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune back in here. Make it your destination for pro wrestling. Jump in the chat rooms, all those great things. You're going to get Danger Zone, Fantasy Warfare. You get Game Night with Josh Matthews. You get Petey Williams here, Madison Rain. A lot of great personalities on the Ringside Wrestling app. And, of course, more live shows are going to be rolling out very, very soon. All right, with all that out of the way, let's get to it. Top 5 stories of the week. The number one story, the top story here the past week, is that the WWE, according to the Wrestling Observer, is aware that they have lost touch with the teenage demographic. There's concern they're going to completely lose teenage viewers when AEW launches later this year. That's the reason there's this new edgier product. Expect more young talent to be called up to the main roster. Heyman apparently already letting his influence be shown here. Big fan of Ricochet. They're crediting him for the U.S. title run he's on right now. He's somebody that appeals to teenagers. Also, Paul Heyman apparently had a hand in bringing the Street Profits to Raw, even though they are still technically on NXT. Raj, what do you make here about this report that WWE could be aware and struggling with, identifying the teenagers?
I mean, that's no surprise to me. I mean, I'd be surprised if they're just becoming aware of this. Look, I don't know how you talk a teenager into watching a show for 3 hours every week. I think that's one big problem. Teenagers, everything is so quick and easy now with YouTube and Twitter and Twitch and all this other stuff. So yeah, I mean, there's a big problem right there just with the length of the show to attract teenagers. But also, yes, AEW is a lot buzzier. You look at the crowds at AEW, it's, a younger demo as opposed to Raw or SmackDown. I mean, NXT is more similar to AEW as far as the crowd goes. So, I mean, they got a lot of work to do if they want to appeal to teens. And, Street Profits, I think they're a cool team, but, having them just promoting segments, it's a total misuse of their talent.
Thank you, Raj, because that's what I agree with you on this one. I said that on Twitter. I was like, why is the B team shilling Christmas gear, right? Which is exactly what this feels to me. This is not an impactful debut for the Street Profits. And, look, Paul Heyman obviously has an eye for talent. These guys are going to relate very well to that teenage demo. But, man, you always say, how come these NXT talents can't make that transition? It's because nobody ever gets brought in and, pushed. And regardless, whether they're funny, they took the stuff they were given and made it work. Okay, granted, right, they're very talented. But this is not impactful stuff. This doesn't make them look like a top-tier act, I don't think, in any way.
Not at all. I was saying it would have been I think it would have been much cooler is if the main event, you had a 6-man tag. So you had Shane, Elias, and Drew and against Roman, the janitor, and the garbage man, and they come out in masks and they win. They pin Elias. He can take the loss, and it turns out to be the Street Profits. How impactful would that have been? As opposed to
yeah. Would have been way better. That Cedric Alexander thing. I mean, look, I'm a Cedric Alexander fan, but what was going on with that?
It made no sense. I mean, for that to make sense, they should have gotten the win, right?
Yeah.
But he unmasked. It's like, why are you even unmasking? You just lost. You just got, you got a minute of offense and then got planted and lost. Yeah. It was the last Raw was very bizarre.
Well, and on this note too, to wrap up this talk here about them being worried about losing the teenage demo and maybe how they're going to try to start getting it back. when I go to all these AEW shows, as I've been on the road following them like the Grateful Dead, I'll be back in Jacksonville here at Fight for the Fallen. I go to these shows. I can't say I've maybe seen more than 3 children total across all the AEW events I've been to, right? This isn't just teenagers. This is adults. And like, I think that while there is maybe concern you're losing the teenage demo, I feel like if we're talking actual teenagers, middle school, high school kids, that are still watching wrestling, I think you have a chance to retain them. I mean, what are you doing for adults? I mean, do you even care? Is the A in AEW for adult entertainment wrestling? Which is kind of how it feels.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the Becky Seth stuff. I don't know how many adults can get into that.
Yeah, exactly. So, interesting. We'll see. Do all tides rise here come October when everybody's in the pool? Well, our second top story of the week, one-way WWE trying to counter this narrative right now, maybe win back those teenage fans, is a renewed push in Kevin Owens. Now, he cut this pipe bomb promo on SmackDown this week where it was on Shane McMahon. He started off by saying, a while ago, I watched the entire McMahon family come out in this ring and say, hey, from now on, we're going to listen to the fans, give the audience what they want. But the only thing that's happened since then is Shane McMahon has gotten more power, more authority, and more TV time than anyone. And trust me when I'm saying that nobody watching ever wanted that. He said it's an insult to everyone in the back that he calls himself the best in the world. He said he took up time from guys and gals like Apollo Crews, Buddy Murphy, Ali, Liv Morgan, Asuka, AOP, Kairi Sane, and he was ejected from the building only to come back at the end, Stone Cold Steve Austin, give the stunner to Shane. This was, impactful, but it was a rehash. This is definitely some Attitude Era stuff. What'd you think of them going so directly back to the well like this?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely felt familiar, but it gives Kevin Owens a big spark. He's been kind of just sitting around doing nothing, really, since his feud with Kofi Kingston ended. So, yeah, I mean, it made him an ultra babyface quick. That was their original plan when he was coming back, back in February, March, when they had those vignettes of him playing pool and eating pizza or bowling and eating pizza. So yeah, they got it and it was effective. So, kudos to them. And Kevin Owens delivered it great. Like I said, for people that have been watching wrestling for a while, the promo did feel very familiar. CM Punk obviously comes to mind, Joey Styles, Paul Heyman have cut, they've cut similar promos in the past, but it was very effective.
Yeah. And I think for Shane right now, especially with the heel dynamic he's trying to take on, which is very different than what we've seen him in past years. Almost, and I think, if Stephanie's going to be at home with the kids, which is what it sounds like, Ric Flair told us on the interview last week at Wrestling Inc. He's like, Steph has stepped away to go be a mom. Vince McMahon not really wanting to be an on-screen character. Is Shane the only, and Linda, of course, doing politics, is Shane the only viable McMahon they can rely on? And they say, you know what? McMahons are heels. We need to start cultivating that Shane McMahon heel persona. We saw him with The Miz, who's not really Stone Cold-esque. We saw him with Roman Reigns, who's not really Stone Cold-esque. This is really the first adversary for Shane McMahon, I feel like, that could really put him, I think, in that space of what a McMahon, Steve Austin era feels like. Different characters, obviously. You got Shane and Kevin here. But I'm watching this, and I like this. I hope they roll with it because it feels right to me,
Yeah, and hopefully Kevin Owens hopefully gets the win with the McMahon. You never know. And hopefully they write Shane off of TV because you talk about wanting to appeal to teenagers, right? And yet you got Shane beating all your stars. He's been beating The Miz left and right. He beat Roman Reigns, your top guy, more or less. So, yeah, I think he's not helping the product right now. He's all over the TV. So hopefully this Kevin Owens feud puts the rocket strap on Kevin Owens and causes Shane to take a step back. Maybe use him as a second to Drew McIntyre as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah, we'll say. I don't know. I think that this could start between Shane and Kevin Owens. And look, Steve Austin, he had the beer truck. Kurt Angle had the milk truck. Kevin Owens, Canadian.
Pizza truck.
Pizza truck, maple syrup truck. The Canucks, they love their maple syrup. So there you go. All right, another act here that we're going to see heating up, possibly bringing back that teenage audience here. Our third top story of the week: the Club's WWE Status. Now, contrary to what I said last week, with Raj was right to correct me on, I had to issue a retraction on the WINCLY podcast last Wednesday. No, the Club is not leaving WWE. The Observer reporting they are absolutely signed. They are going to be making WWE is making bigger offers than people think. Gallows and Anderson are one of them. They had turned down $500,000 offers per year, so the WWE obviously upped the ante. Meltzer also noted that WWE isn't looking to lose anybody right now. Unlikely for anybody to get fired unless it's from disciplinary reasons. And there was also a note, I believe, in here about how the Revival very interested in becoming a top tag team. That's why they've got the titles here right now. WWE trying to woo them. Gallows and Anderson, different story. They wanted to work with AJ. They want to get back to that Club persona. Looks like they're going to get their wish as well. good for everybody here. This is what I don't know why it took 3 years to get here when this is seemingly what everybody wanted from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, with the club, AJ's always been the hottest when he was with the club. Like a real main eventer. When he was a babyface, his matches never went on last at pay-per-views. I mean, let's be honest. He was always kind of put in the secondary as far as the top feuds in the company. He's the top guy on SmackDown, but the Raw feud would get the more, attention. So it's great for everybody. And, one of the problems with WWE for forever has been how little of the revenue goes to the talent. I mean, it's less than any sport. It's less than the UFC. And now, they're upping these contracts. And so you're finally starting to see these guys, making good money as opposed to decent money. And I know a lot of people will be like, well, $250,000 a year, that's good money. But when you take into account the amount of traveling you're doing, you're paying for road expenses, you're paying for your rental cars and your hotels. WWE covers the flight, but you got all these other expenses and the wear and tear on your body. So it's great. I think that these contracts are getting bigger and the talent's getting paid more.
Yeah, I think it was in the Chris Van Vliet interview they did with the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks said, our influence has already started to help. Our friends are finally making the money they deserve. And, I thought that was a very valid point, for such a fresh promotion here with AEW. The impact is already starting to resonate. And it is, I think, in the pocketbooks of the performers, which is wonderful.
Yes.
This is how it should be. And yeah, along with this, now that we've got AJ with the club, what do you think? Do you think they bring Finn into the mix at some point? Or do you think that, it was enough for them to put these three together? We want to keep this act separate.
I think they're going to keep them separate. They did last time. They never even teased it. But I'd love to see it. Finn isn't really doing anything. I think it would give him a spark, or even feud with them. I think if Finn AJ feud would be fantastic. I mean, the brand extension doesn't mean anything right now. We'll see next week. Now with Bischoff and Heyman coming back in, if they start getting more strict, maybe even drop the wild card rule and going back to separate brands. Otherwise, why have separate executive directors of both shows when the talents are going back and forth.
Yeah, and even this is a little bit more something like we'd see in the Attitude Era. Stables were so prevalent, in the Attitude Era. They worked so well. Los Bricos, DOA, Nation of Domination, DX, on and on. Having the club around, I think you could even call McMahon's little posse. I mean, that's historically what it's been, a posse of his, right? You got Drew, Elias, the Revival there, a little bit of a stable. So slowly but surely, I think, we are seeing a bit more of those elements come in here. And maybe another reason that they went with this club route.
Yeah, so. If done right, we've seen it, you've seen it with Evolution. You can make a superstar, or if done wrong, like with Legacy, you don't.
Yeah, there you go. Well, on to our fourth big story of the week. This one was in-house. This was a scoop here from us at Wrestling Inc. about Mike and Maria Kanellis. Mike and Maria have signed new deals. They signed them in June. They did not find out they were pregnant until about 2 weeks ago. So they found out after they had signed these contracts about this. But WWE was aware that Mike and Maria wanted another child when they were offered their new deals. The company is apparently trying to make their environment more modernized for working mothers. That includes having a room for young children at their 4 major pay-per-views, as well as scheduled time off for family events. Great. Good. I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah, no, it's great. Hopefully they move from just the 4 major pay-per-views to all the pay-per-views.
I would agree. Or the Raw, and the SmackDown.
Right. It doesn't seem like it would be too hard to do, and with the kind of money they're going to be making with the TV deals coming up here in just a couple of months, they're going to have more money than they know what to do with. So I think it's a great idea.
I agree. And I do wonder, back to what Rick said about Stephanie McMahon being off the road to go home and be a mom. Again, it's like you have, obviously Linda is a mother as well, but, I don't know that they had the resources when Linda was launching the company that they do now. I think a modern eye from a woman like Stephanie, maybe giving some influence in that area. I wouldn't be too surprised to put 2 and 2 together and find out that these are things that Steph has been pushing for inside,
Yeah.
All right, well, it is time for our quick predictions here. We're going to run through the Extreme Rules card now. Just a reminder, this is not the only pay-per-view this weekend. You're also going to get the Evolve 10th anniversary on Sunday as well, or on Saturday as well. That'll be going head-to-head for Fight for the Fallen, and we've got the GCW 5150 Tribute to Homicide coverage all this weekend as well. But we're just going to focus on Extreme Rules right now. So we've got here, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 matches here for Extreme Rules. We'll start off with the Aleister Black Cesaro match. Cesaro answering Aleister Black's challenge. Real quickly, what'd you think of him as the opponent, the mystery man, and who do you think comes out on top?
I like it. I think they could have a great match. I thought the way they set it up was a little, I don't know, it's a little anticlimactic, I guess. But I think it'll be a great match, and it makes no sense for Cesaro to win. So Aleister Black's got to win this.
I think Cesaro over Dirty. I'm going the other way. I think Cesaro cheats to win and infuriates Aleister Black, and we really see that demon come out of him. So, all right, we'll go to last man standing match here: Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley. Who you got?
I think Strowman's got to win here. But Lashley's he looked like a killer on Raw. I mean, I didn't like how they just buried Ray on his first night back, but still, I mean, Lashley looked great. He's got some steam. It wouldn't shock me to see him get the win here, but because you need a big heel for Seth. I mean, Corbin's really running its course. So, I think Lashley is a good pick, but I see them going with Strowman.
Okay, I'm going to disagree again. I think Lashley here. I think Strowman, we've heard those reports about him dealing with injuries. Maybe this is the final way to write the big beast off. They got him for one more pay-per-view. And also, Bobby Lashley jaw-jacking with Bray Wyatt now on Twitter. I don't know if he's trying to, plant seeds for whatever is next after Strowman win or lose here. But I just found that very interesting that he's being more aggressive, I guess, at the moment.
They need top heels. So if I was booking it, I'd book Lashley.
All right, no holds barred match. The Undertaker and Roman Reigns taking on Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. What are your expectations here?
I think it should be good. I think, Roman is always good. Taker's in a tag, so he'll be limited. He won't have to work the whole match. Shane always brings out the big guns for matches like this, and Drew is great. I think it'll be a good match. I think I almost feel like Roman and Taker have to get the victory, but if you're setting up a SummerSlam match, a singles match for Taker against, say, Drew, then it almost makes sense for Drew to get the win here, pinning Taker, and that would be the most shocking result.
I agree. I'm with you here. I think Drew over. I think he's going to pin Undertaker here, set up for SummerSlam. That brings us to the Cruiserweight Championship. New champion Drew Gulak taking on Tony Nese. Who do you got?
Gulak.
Yeah, 100%. I got Gulak too. Raw Tag Team Champions, the Revival defending against the Usos. What do you think?
Man, the Usos got the win on Raw. Just with WWE, with the way they book, I'm going to go with the Revival.
I'm going to go Revival here too. I think these guys are just getting heated up, especially Shane McMahon's lackeys. I don't see him drop the title here. SmackDown Tag Team Champions Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan are going to defend against Big E and Xavier Woods, the New Day, and Heavy Machinery. Who you got?
I think Daniel Bryan and Rowan, and then maybe they beat one of the New Day, and then go on to have a one-on, I guess, a tag-on-tag match against Heavy Machinery at SummerSlam.
Okay, I think you're right too. I think that they're not ready to take the titles off Bryan and Rowan. But also, are you kind of surprised at how a little lackluster this tag run has been for these two?
Well, they'll be off TV for 3 weeks and then on. It's just been the booking's been weird. I just think Daniel Bryan is just way more effective as a singles.
I'm going to say Dark Horse Heavy Machinery takes it here.
Right.
Just because, again, it's like they haven't, it's like big name with here Daniel Bryan, but man, you got to do something with these guys. And right now, just them holding the titles, I don't feel like they're doing much. So We'll see. Maybe a chase will be better.
I think this will be a really good match, though. You just look at the talent involved. New Day are always great. Heavy Machinery have been really good, and Daniel Bryan, and he's awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree. Talent's great here. I think the match will be great. The outcome, I'll be interested in this one. This one's not totally clear to me. Then we have U.S. champion Ricochet defending against AJ Styles. This is a lot of people excited for this one. What do you think?
I think this could be the match of the night if they're given enough time. I agree. I don't think you should beat AJ yet, but I also don't think you should beat Ricochet. So this is a tough one. I'm going to go Ricochet, and then AJ just destroys him afterwards, and it keeps this feud going.
Okay, I'm going to go the other way. I'll say AJ takes the title here. I do think there'll be some shenanigans with Anderson and Gallows that lead to it. Not totally clean, but this way you get Ricochet fired up on the chase going into SummerSlam here, trying to get that title back from AJ, which maybe or maybe he doesn't. Who knows? But I think that's more compelling. Mm-hmm. And then we've got our possible 2-on-1 handicap match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bayley defending against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Now, we heard about this as it was playing out on Monday night. That Alexa was sick. It's been clarified now, I believe, by the Observer that Alexa is dealing with a real serious sinus infection. So, maybe she'll be there. But if she's not, at least Nikki Cross is involved in the match. What do you think's going to happen here? I know there's a lot of variables in play.
Yeah, I think so. Alexa is sick. She's been off the road. She wasn't at Raw this past Monday night, and she was scheduled for a signing earlier that day with Braun. They were replaced. Yeah, I think Bayley retaining. I don't know. This is one of the pay-per-views where there's a lot of different ways they can go with all these matches, and it's kind of, I mean, it's intriguing. You know what? I'll go with Nikki Cross. I think Nikki Cross wins it, and it causes a rift between her and Alexa, and they go to that singles feud.
I wonder if they don't keep it on Bayley here just because they got a little off the tracks with their booking and are kind of being forced to do this. I wonder if there's other booking they want to do, and they're like, well, when Alexa's back, we can get back to it. So that would be my only hesitance. But outside of that, yeah, I feel Nikki Cross put lightning in a bottle. It's working right now. WWE Champion Kofi Kingston's going to defend against Samoa Joe.
Look, Kofi winning at WrestleMania was the highlight of that event for me. I thought it was great, but I haven't really enjoyed how he's been booked since he's won the title. He's basically a member of the New Day who happens to be champion as opposed to his own guy. I think Kofi wins and maybe Brock cashes in. You know, they did tease it. And that would be the more unexpected result. I think everyone kind of expects Brock to eventually cash in on Seth. Cashing in on Kofi would be a surprise, but I think Kofi beats Joe.
I'm going to go back to what I wanted to happen at the last pay-per-view, which was Kofi Kingston beats Joe, lights out, lights up, there's the Fiend. All right, lays out Kofi Kingston, and then the New Day comes out to help him, lights out, Fiend's gone. Bray Wyatt comes out apologizing on Smack. I'm since it hasn't happened yet, that's just I'm going to predict the same thing. That's what I like to happen here.
I'm pretty sure we're going to see by next week we'll have seen Bray Wyatt on TV.
All right, I've just laid it out. Maybe here we see it.
Yeah.
All right, last match here. Winner take all. Rollins and Becky putting their titles on the line against Corbin and Lacey Evans. If Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans lose, they will never get to challenge Rollins and Lynch for their titles again. Big stakes.
Yeah, yeah, and we've seen how often they stick with these stakes. Remember when Owens and Sammy wrestled? They said it would be the last time ever, and then they were wrestling again just a few weeks later. I think Rollins and Becky. I mean, it is a way for them to take the titles off of them without Rollins getting beat. But I don't know. I think Rollins and Becky win it here.
They've so much invested in Corbin and Evans. I think they pull the trigger here. And I think that Baron Corbin pins Becky Lynch to do it. I feel like I can't get it out of my head. I think it'll happen. And I think it'll be nuclear.
It would be. But, you know, the Corbin Rollins feud hasn't really set the world on fire. So I think it's better to move on from that and go to something else.
All right. Well, with that, let's get to something else here now. We talk about nuclear. Let's get to some nuclear heat. Here is MJF from the AEW Fyter Fest Media Scrum. MJF, you came up short again here tonight. How are you feeling?
I came up short?
A little, yeah.
Got
you didn't win another.
Well, I'm looking at a very small man. That's cute. Look, I don't know if you're fully aware of this, okay, dipshit, but anybody see me get pinned out there? Just quick, show of hands. Oh, that's right, I didn't, because I'm still undefeated, asshole. Next question.
Why didn't you get out there and...
Chris!
Hey, buddy.
Chris Van Wood. What's up, man?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Hey.
Yeah.
Your best friend, Cody Rhodes, took a chair shot to the head. Why weren't you out there in time?
I wasn't out there. I was the first person out there. Sprinted out there. I mean, that, first of all, Sean Spears is a despicable human being. As everybody knows, I'm a salt-of-the-earth person. And when I saw my best friend, my mentor, Cody Rhodes, just get hit like that, sorry. It messed me up. That's somebody that I genuinely care about. And it sucked. It sucked. But he's okay. He's in the back. So let's just keep on rolling with the important questions, man. What else we got?
We haven't seen chair shots to the head in quite some time. Were you caught off guard by it?
Fuck Sean Spears, man. He's a complete scumbag. And it's sad to think that he would stoop to that level when Cody was nothing but an amazing friend to him. I mean, they both came up in the developmental system in OVW, and they were both very tight for their whole entire lives, and now all of a sudden this guy just didn't turn his back on Cody. Completely despicable action. I'm still talking,
I'm sorry,
asshole. Completely
Cody
despicable
being your
action. What do you want, Four Eyes?
Cody being your best friend, then you're going after Sean then next?
I mean,
Defend your friend?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, I'm not going to fight Cody's battles. Cody's a grown man. But I love that man to death, and if Sean Spears comes up to me and tries to have a conversation, I can assure you it's not going to end with words. It's going to end with fists.
You called yourself the fastest rising star in all elite wrestling.
Yeah, duh.
One would argue that Hangman Page is actually the fastest rising star in AEW.
Yeah, one would argue that.
What do you
we have
think
literally
about
no
that?
idea what you're talking about.
Well, he's fighting for the belt next.
Yeah, whatever, asshole. Here's the thing, right? So I was in an over-the-top battle royal, right? And I was in the first group, right? Was Hangman in the first group? No. So I literally withstanded so many more men than that asshole. Here he comes, just waltzing in after I literally, from Jump Street was in the match all the way to the end. His win was a fluke. And tonight, I didn't get pinned. So once again, his win was a fluke. Hangman has proved nothing. There is nobody in professional wrestling today that can grab you by the balls like Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I don't make you go to the edge of your seat. I make you fall off your seat. I don't make you turn your head. I make you break your neck. That's why I am the future of professional wrestling. That's why I am going to be the face of this company. And that's why Hangman Page is just a fluke, Seabiscuit bastard with a bum knee. Next question.
Somebody asked you about Sean Spears if he's your next battle. It seems like the way you finished the fight tonight, finished the match tonight with Hangman, and the way you've spoken about him, is that your next, the guy you have in your target?
Look, everybody wants to know who I'm wrestling next because, once again, I am the future face of the company, and everybody wants to know what I'm going to do next. Everybody wants to see what I'm going to do next. And the bottom line is, I'm going to do whatever I'm getting paid to do. I get paid by Tony Khan, TK, another very solid friend of mine. So I'm going to wrestle whoever I get paid to wrestle. Will I be very happy to go one-on-one with Hangman Page to finally prove, since I've never been one-on-one with Hangman Page, that every single one of his victories so far, since the start of this promotion, have been absolute flukes? I would love that. Would I like to get in the ring with Sean Spears, a complete scumbag who hit my friend for no reason, literally no reason, after nothing but amazing friendship? Yes, I would love to get in the ring with Sean Spears. I would love to get in the ring with those two people, absolutely. But on any given night, you put me in the ring with any given person, and I can assure you, you are only going to see an amazing match. Next question.
You called out a bunch of gamers' moms tonight. Is there any line that you won't cross?
No. Line? I'm not even near the line. I think it's absolutely preposterous. All these people that work with me in this company, for some reason, they just want to tiptoe. They just want to tiptoe wherever they go. They're so nervous. Oh my God, what if somebody doesn't like me? I don't give a shit what any of you think. Do you know why? It's because I'm better than you, and you know it. Next question.
On that note, your Jungle Boy was in here just a while ago, and he mentioned that your promo went, what he thought was going to be a shorter promo, went a little long. Are there any repercussions for you backstage if you take too much time on a microphone?
Shorter? Longer? I'm sorry.
He wasn't anticipating you for you to...
Let me explain something to you, okay, little man?
Okay.
I can literally talk as long as I goddamn well please because I'm the star attraction. I'm going to be the face of this company. That's why Tony Khan and my best friend, don't know if you ever heard of him, Cody Rhodes, allow me to do whatever the fuck I want to do. It's because I'm MJF and you're not. I'm out.
Thank you, Raj, for joining me to talk the top 5 stories of the week. Thank you to MJF for your precious, valuable time. I look forward to seeing you and engaging in polite discourse again at Fight for the Fallen this weekend. I'm sure it'll be nothing but amicable and pleasant.
He called you little man.
I'm 6 feet tall.
I know.
I'm taller than him. I'm taller than him. And he's not on stage.
Yeah.
Again, guys, if you enjoyed this, download or tell a friend to download the Ringside Wrestling app. We are here every Friday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can also find us on iTunes, Wrestling Inc. audio channel. For this, our post shows, and much more. You can also go over to our YouTube channel. That's where you get all our post shows, recap videos, excerpts from our podcast interviews. Again, I'll be on site at Fight for the Fallen this Saturday. Evolve 10th anniversary. Also this Saturday night, we'll have coverage on the site. Extreme Rules Sunday night, GCW 5150 Tribute to Homicide Sunday afternoon. And, of course, go follow and support our friends, the Ringside Wrestling app on social media using @Ringside app on Twitter, @Ringside Wrestling app on Instagram. Raj, is there anything you want to plug, promote, put over here before we wrap up the show today?
Make sure to check out your interview with Kevin Von Erich this week. And then there was a bunch of other big stuff this week. So, check out Wrestling for all of those exclusives.
I will say, yes, the Kevin Von Erich interview is very good. It's very, 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 very good. A lot of passion in the Kevin Von Erich interview. D'Lo Brown was great. We had Capital Wrestling's Matthew Ryan. But there's this interview with Austin Lane that got dropped on yesterday's WINCLY where he is just so candid about how concussions and CTE are handled in the National Football League. He's a former football player, played for the Jaguars. And then he was sitting there watching his old boss, Tony Khan, approve of an unprotected chair shot to the head at Fighter Fest. It's just good insight. He's very candid, very open. I highly encourage you all to go check that interview out. All right. And with that, I'm at Wink Rebel over on Twitter. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, if you winked, you didn't miss it.